I'm here today with Bjørnar of Vulture Industries to talk about the new record, Ghosts from the Past. Thank you very much for taking the time. How's things going with you?
Thank you. I'm good, thanks. We have release day today, and we're here at Vaterland, the venue in Oslo, doing a show this evening, and we're looking forward to celebrating the new release with our friends and fans here.
So let me start off by asking you this. 6 years since Stranger Times. How did that time help create this record, help you as a band, help you as a musician put this record together?
It helped us to have a long period to gather inspiration. But the main thing that led to being slow with this album is that two of us got 2 kids each in the period. So that kind of changed priorities around a bit. And when we work with Vulture Industries material, it's like a very immersive process. You have to go deep into it. You can't just do it like half an hour here and there when you have the spare time for it. So we had to wait till we could get a bit more of the evenings back, and from there we were able to create the material for the album. So most of it has actually been written within the last 1.5 years.
So what was, you mentioned the inspiration. So what was the inspiration for this record?
There's no like clear thing that I can point to that's inspiration, but I guess life, what's going on around us, but also listening to a good album can bring us inspiration. Watching a good movie, reading a good book, or something like this. But there's like no really clear inspirational sources that encompass the whole album. But I can. There was this one moment when me and my eldest son we were in the car. We were waiting for a ferry crossing. We live on the west coast in Norway, so there's lots of fjords, so you have to take the ferry. And it was like this really hot summer, and he hadn't learned to talk yet. So when he wanted to communicate something, it was these nonverbal sounds, and he was hungry. He would go and I was sitting in the front seat, and we were waiting for the ferry to come, and he started making these sounds from the back seat, and from there I got the idea for deeper, for the aum. Yeah, and I was sort of drumming on the dashboard, and he was doing these sounds in the back.
That's super interesting. That's really cool, really cool. So when I looked at the title of the record and I see Ghosts from the Past, the first question that I had in my mind is, what or who are these ghosts from the past?
It's a title that goes a bit 2 ways. In one sense, it's a bit about the world changing rapidly, and feeling a bit like something from the past stuck in the present, and also with the changes in the world at the present time, you see a lot of old ideas coming back and being presented as something new, and some of these ideas are a bit scary in my mind. Yeah,
people seem to forget the past or the history, and in this case the ghosts. They seem to forget about them, and then you find yourself repeating those same mistakes. And I agree with you. Like you put it very nicely. You put it in a very nice way. Some of the scary moments that we're experiencing right now. You talked about the time that it took and how immersive the experience is for you guys when it actually comes to building a record, to creating your music. So take us a little bit deeper into that. How is the creative process for the band? Do you guys work together as one? How does it work?
I have my own studio, so I usually make the pretty thorough sketches of songs. I do the main part of the writing, and then I send this out to the other guys, and they give feedback, and we work from there. And after we pretty much finalize the structure and the basic arrangements, then we take it into the rehearsal room, and all the guys add their personal touches and do all the changes that are necessary, and then we go into the studio. But we still like to leave some decisions to the studio, so that you can get some of these a bit spontaneous moments where things are happening in the studio, instead of pre-planning everything.
If you had to explain this record from a soundscape point of view to somebody who hasn't listened to the album yet, how would you characterize the overall sound on this album?
I would say it's something between post-punk, hard rock, with a bit of spaghetti western, and maybe a touch of Nordic noir. I would say it's a bit adventurous, and we like to mix in all the things that we like, but it's not like we are trying to reinvent the wheel. We are mainly just being just picking what we like, instead of trying to make something that fits into a genre. We include everything that we like. It's like it's a musical representation of ourselves.
Does each album become a musical representation of where you currently are as individuals and as a band? Because you guys have never been shy about evolving and changing sounds and soundscapes and atmospheres and growing with every record. So are you guys one of those bands that every album is a picture of where you currently sit?
Yeah, I would agree to that. Of course, you can also, I think our sound is pretty recognizable, even though we changed from album to album. But it's so it's like a current image of us that also includes where we're from. You can see the history of the band and our current state from the new album, I would say.
You mentioned the kids came into the picture, and that changes the way the band approached making the album, created this layover. Was that the only challenge that you guys had, or was there other challenges that this album created for you guys?
The pandemic, of course, made it fucked up all plans that we had. So everything had to be restructured, and I guess that that kind of challenged things a bit, but at the same time, it wasn't such a big deal for us because we were so much busy with raising kids at the time.
You had other bigger problems on your hands. bigger fish to fry, like they say. So as a vocalist, when you look back at this album, did this record offer you maybe not challenges, but offer you new opportunities for you to expand and for you to evolve your own instrument, if you will?
I haven't really thought about it like that, but of course I try to refine things a bit from album to album, and to do my best, and to make things interesting for myself and for the listener. Yeah, but I haven't been developing in any new styles or something like this.
Well, you mentioned earlier that you like to leave some room as a band when you go into the studio to be a little bit more organic. Do you take the same approach vocally? Do you give yourself enough room that when you go into the studio, you can try different things and not just go with a set plan on what you're going to do?
Yeah, I usually do 4 or 5 takes of the whole song, and then I select the parts that I like the most from the different takes, and from there I go onwards with experimenting with harmonies and overdubs, and then the other guys come in to add their voices to the mix. No, on the last albums, Eivind and Hjörre have been contributing quite a lot of backing vocals, so that instead of me just doing add-ons that cannot be represented when we are playing live, we are now trying to work things so that the same presentation will also be available when you see us in concerts. You will have Hjörre and Eivind doing their vocals on top of mine.
When you sit back and you listen to the record and you take it all in, what part of you does this album represent? You see a specific part of who you are as an individual represented on this record?
I would say my soul.
That's a huge part of who you are.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of who you are. And how does that make you feel when you listen back to the record again? Does that allow you to dig deep and touch that soul?
I guess it makes me feel a bit exposed when we put the album out. I guess it's a cliche to say that one doesn't care about critics, but of course you do to some extent, because if not, why would you release it at all? So of course, seeing that people appreciate what we are doing is part of the reward of doing this. And when we get feedback from people that our music has touched them in a profound way or helped them through personal problems, then that is, of course, something that I have a huge respect for, and also it makes you a bit afraid to disappoint these people that have kind of become part of the thing that you built.
Yeah, you feel like you maybe owe them something, or at least you owe them having that bar always set at a very high level so that you don't defraud their expectations.
Yeah, I think most of our fans are pretty open-minded people, so it's not a problem that that they are expecting us to sound the same from album to album. Most of them can appreciate that there is a change, but still you want your loyal fans to be happy with what you are doing. So that's an obligation that you can feel. Yeah.
Well, one last question for you. The album is out. Fans can listen to the record now. They can purchase the record now. So what's the next step for you guys as a band in terms of promoting this album? Are you guys thinking of hitting the road, doing some shows, touring? What are the plans for the band so that fans know where to catch you guys?
We had an anniversary concert in Bergen quite recently that we recorded as a multi-track audio recording and with multiple cameras. So we have aired the first part on our YouTube channel, and on the 23rd, I think, we will air the second part. And if people want to stop by and look at it and also chat with us, they can come in there, because when it's premiering, we will be available in the chat. And after that, we will be working on touring. We are planning to do a European tour early next year, and we are also hoping to do something in the US for the first time. So that's really something that we are very eager to make happen.
Well, being on this side of the Atlantic, I'm in Canada, but normally when bands come to the US, they play Canadian shows, and I'm in Toronto. So I'm hoping to see you guys on this side of the Atlantic. I'm hoping to see you guys in Toronto next year then, if that's the case.
We hope to also make it to Canada. I would love to see Canada.
Yeah, no, it'll be really nice to have you guys perform here, and something to be excited about, something to look forward into the new year. Bringing those ghosts of the past into the present and perhaps a little bit into the future. So Bjørnar, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I know you have a busy schedule today, so thank you for giving me some of your time. All the best to you and the gang, and hope to see you in 2024.
Good, man. Nice to meet you.
Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.